Well, I haven't taken care of the squad yet.
No, but you will.
I will.
So I'm thanking you.
Because I know you'll keep, you're welcome. Were you waiting for me?
When you're seated, I'd like to take a picture of just the dais there.
Oh, criminy.
Trying to get
I'll
your,
fix it.
don't, it's okay, no pressure. Board, if I could have you look over here real quick. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. I did. We are at 9 o'clock. Right. Wait, stand for the pledge of allegiance. Salute and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please. Board Member Connolly. Board Member Durkee.
Here.
Board Member Ritter. Here. Board Member Kimmelshue. Board Member Teeter.
Here.
Board Member Knuckles.
Here.
Board Member Reynolds. Here. Board Member Calderon.
Here.
Board Member Pittman.
Here.
Board Member Tryon.
I'm still sitting in.
All right. Consent agenda, anybody would need to move anything? Entertain a motion?
Move to approve.
Be in favor?
Aye.
Items for action, 2024 unmet transit needs process at Butte Regional Transit, public hearing, Victoria.
Good morning, Board. As you recall from last board meeting, we opened up the annual unmet transit needs 30-day comment period in October. And now we are coming to the board to close that comment period by a public hearing for any final comments from the public. If we receive any comments today, we would not take action on them, but they would be included in the unmet transit needs assessment that will come forward to the board early in 2024.
Do you have any comments? So we open the public hearing and close the public hearing?
I'm just wondering, what kind of input?
So far, we received some feedback via email and in person at the Jesus Center regarding additional service on Sundays, especially in Chico, but just around the county. And then there were some comments related to the frequency of service on the workdays and then in Oroville. And then there was one comment about adding a stop to a location that they thought was on the bus line, but it's not. And so we're pretty sure what they saw was a paratransit vehicle and not the actual service vehicle. And Oroville.
Are we making special provisions for the Christmas season, especially for the Gridley area?
I'm not sure what you mean by that. Our service doesn't really change because of Christmas.
So we will have the same
Yes.
times and.
Yes, our service
Okay.
stays the same during Christmas.
Board comments, questions? Close the public hearing for that, then. Regional. Ivan.
Good morning, Board. BCAG is required to prepare and adopt a regional transportation improvement program by December 15th for the 2024 State Transportation Improvement Program. Purpose of the RTIP, to identify the programming recommendations for the State Transportation Improvement Program over the next 5 fiscal years, beginning July 1st of 2024, all the way to 2029. The STIP is comprised of 2 components. The regional component, the RTIP, makes up 75% of the STIP, whereas the remainder, the other 25%, is the Caltrans Interregional Transportation Improvement Program. A couple of months ago, BCAG requested project nominations from member jurisdictions for consideration of programming with a funding target of $8.4 million. Staff received 8 projects totaling over $20 million in requests. Table 1 in the board memo identifies the 2024 RTIP recommendations. These projects were reviewed with BCAG's Transportation Advisory Committee and presented to the BCAG board in October. These project recommendations have not changed. Projects recommended for programming meet the requirements identified in the STIP guidelines and are in alignment with the Climate Action Plan for Transportation Infrastructure adopted by the California State Transportation Agency, CalSTA, and consistent with BCAG's Long-Range Regional Transportation Plan, Sustainable Community Strategy. The projects recommended for programming include the City of Chico's Eaton Road State Route 99 Roundabout Project for $6.3 million, the county's Palermo Safe Routes to School Project in South Oroville for $1 million, BCAG's North Valley Rail Project for $2.5 million, and BCAG's Planning, Programming, and Monitoring Project for $738,000 to support staff. The recommendations total $10.5 million, which is a little above our programming target. STIP guidelines allow for small regions to over-program. Whether or not we get it, we honestly don't know. But based on consultation with commission staff, it's not an unreasonable request for the project package we are submitting. For those projects submitted and not recommended for the 2024 RTIP, staff has prepared a separate agenda item following this one to identify other funding options for those projects. The RTIP was developed in accordance with BCAG's public participation process and has been noticed as a public hearing for today to solicit final comments. Project locations are attached in your board memo. Staff requests the board vice chair open a public hearing to solicit final comments. If no significant comments are received, staff and the BCAG Transportation Advisory Committee recommend the BCAG Board of Directors adopt the 2024 RTIP for Butte County by Resolution 2023-24-07. This resolution also authorizes staff to make any necessary adjustments in consultation with the California Transportation Commission. Any changes made will be presented.
I'll open the public hearing. Do we have any public comment on the item? Board members? None, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion. Resolution. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? On to carbon reduction program and congestion mitigation air quality program update. Ivan Hick.
Yes, following up on the previous agenda item, BCAG is able to program new carbon reduction program and congestion mitigation and air quality program projects for programming consideration. Regarding the carbon reduction program, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act created the CRP program to provide federal funding for projects that decrease transportation emissions, which are defined as carbon dioxide emissions that result from on-road highway sources. The CRP program is split 65% for the local program and 35% that goes to the state for their program. Both local and state funds must be in alignment with what they are calling the carbon reduction strategy. That's a new program that was happened for. Caltrans, they've already indicated that their funds will be programmed for the State Highway Operations and Protection Program to convert existing lanes to price-managed lanes. That's their story. Targeted, that's where they're headed. So they're at least upfront with that. The strategy, the CRS strategy, carbon reduction strategy, outlines how California will spend its CRP dollars on reducing transportation carbon emissions. They've created what they're called three pillars. They include zero emission vehicles and infrastructure, active transportation, rail and transit. So those are the three categories on how we can program these funds. BCAG has received the apportion estimates for the 5-year surface bill that the program was created for. Those estimates are identified. BCAG has received the first 2 years, so we are able to program those first 2 years. But the estimates for the 5-year period totaling a little over $2 million has been provided. What's interesting and what works for us is the process to program these new projects is very similar to the Regional Transportation Improvement Program we just got through, and exactly the same as the Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Program, which we're required to issue a call for projects process. Now, all of these projects for the CRP and CMAQ are required to be programmed in BCAG's Federal Transportation Improvement Program by the BCAG board and administered through Caltrans Local Assistance, our local agencies are familiar with. Regarding the CMAQ program, the purpose of the CMAQ program is to fund transportation projects that will contribute to the attainment or maintenance of the national ambient air quality standards for ozone, carbon monoxide, or particular matter. CMAQ program is very flexible. Pretty much any transportation project in which we can demonstrate an emissions reduction for ozone is eligible, so long as we can quantify a benefit. Active transportation, roundabouts, that sort of stuff. Apportionments for the CMAQ program are provided by Caltrans. In addition, what's unique about this program is BCAG has the ability to borrow from another region who is not using their apportionment. So if one region is ready to go, BCAG can ask if we can borrow those and then pay it back with future apportionments. Trade-off, of course, is we won't be able to program new projects later. However, the benefit is we can deliver a project earlier and likely cheaper since project costs continue to go up. That's the trade-off. The apportionments for the region are identified on page 3 of the board memo. We seem to be getting, and it fluctuates every year, we seem to be getting about 1.8 or so million per year. The table identifies 9.4 million, half of which is already committed to for existing projects. Most of the projects that were submitted as part of the 2024 RTIP are in alignment with both the CRP and CMAQ program. Why issue another call for projects? So staff is looking for direction from the BCAG board if the board supports borrowing from another region and to use the existing call for projects process. This is something the board supports and we want to go down this path. Staff will extend the call for projects period through the end of the calendar year to allow local agencies to make any adjustments for those projects that we already received. This approach was presented to the TAC and they support this approach. The table included on page 3 identify all the projects that we received as part of the RTIP process. In that table, we identify the RTIP recommendations that were just approved, and the recommendations, if supported by the board, would be presented in January for the CRP and CMAQ. Just looking at how the numbers play out, CRP estimate is very much in alignment with the city of Chico's downtown project. It's a good fit. Just put the money there since it's an estimate, whereas the other projects would be funded with CMAQ, county, and Biggs, and, the city of Orville. We're all familiar with on how to deliver projects in the CMAQ program. Pretty much it, just looking for direction if this is an approach that we want to go.
I'm just curious, out of curiosity, why the downtown complete streets was recommended, but not the Southgate. There's a lot of trucks and movement in the Southgate area, and that seems like more emissions.
The Southgate is a bigger project, and there is not a financial plan to see it through. And quite honestly, it's not in alignment with the cap.
Probably well over $100 million to the midways.
First road in, let alone all the roads.
Well, in this approach, if we go down this path, we free up local funds, give Chico, and
They're planning major things for downtown, so that.
it is a strategy to pursue future active transportation program funds. So are the City of Orville projects. That's the strategy, and that's the strategy that we've been using all along, in which we've secured over 90 million in active transportation program funds over the first 6 cycles.
And you talked about the price managed plans. That's not something that's gonna happen in our area, right? Throughout Caltrans.
I would agree with that. I don't know for sure, but that makes sense that those projects would be in really congested areas. That's, I will find out exactly.
So this is for information, and you're just looking for direction.
Just direction, and that not would work for me. Well, I would still need to borrow the funds and see if that's an option, but, I made some calls, and I think I.
Stayed open until the end of the year, you said.
Yeah, I would contact the TAC and ask them to review their project applications, to cross those Ts and dot the Is. Because if we borrow funds, that's it.
You have direction then. North Valley Passenger Rail Strategic Plan Update, correct?
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, just a quick update on the plan. We want to let you know that we have developed the first draft of the plan. So we're kind of excited to kind of reach this point. We've been under development for, I think, the last 2+ years on this plan. So project development team is currently reviewing this first draft, and they're slated to give us comments back by December 22nd. And you may recall the project development team includes planning and public works staff from all of your jurisdictions, also jurisdictions to the south of us in Marysville, Yuba City, SACOG staff, state staff, et cetera. So we're going to be getting their comments on the first draft kind of initially, and then we'll be revising the plan based on those comments to produce a second draft that's going to be available for kind of a broader public review. We expect to complete that and have that posted on the project website in early January, and then the folks will have the whole month of January to review that document. We didn't want to put it out during the holidays. And then we expect to bring a final plan to the board for your review February meeting. So in support of the public review, we just want to let you know we're conducting a second community virtual workshop next week. It'll be Wednesday. We've put a link there to register. I think we already have over 100 people who registered for it. So out and just encourage you all to, if you have time, to pop in there. And it's only for an hour from 5 to 6 p.m. next Wednesday. And it'll follow a similar format to the last one we held, if you recall, where we have presentations by the project team and then extensive Q&A session afterwards, where the project team's available to answer any questions that folks have. For the update, just wanted to invite y'all to participate and let you know that we're getting near the end of this planning process.
Board comments? Questions? Great. Regional Transit first quarter 23 report. Victoria.
Hi, I presented, and compiled the first quarter report for 23, and it shows, pretty much what we expect. Ridership, nationally is still struggling on public transit, and we are still very far below the pre-pandemic levels and our higher levels. But, we are steadily improving. If you look here, you'll see that the bottom two lines in green and purple are paratransit, and those are kind of just at their new normal of steady, but, slowly but steadily hanging on. And with paratransit, because that's a demand response service, we only pay what people, for the service when people are using it. We're okay with numbers like that. The red line that you see above that, hovering around the 10,000 riders mark and then upticking at the end, is our regional service. So that would be Route 40 and 41 from Paradise and Magalia to Chico, Route 20 from Oroville to Chico, and then Routes 30 and 32 from Biggs and Gridley on Oroville. And then that top blue line is service in Chico. So, and the local service in Oroville. So you really see that the fixed route numbers really live and breathe on what is happening to the Chico ridership. That's where the bulk of our ridership is, and that's what it comes down to. These peaks and valleys are really, they're normal for us. These are similar peaks and valleys that we saw before the pandemic. This is just smaller scale because there's less ridership, so small changes make a more drastic increase. But we evaluate the service as a whole through these four lenses of fixed route and paratransit, urban and rural. And then that's the way it's been presented here, not just in the graph, but then in the breakdown as well. We've had some changes in how we've been approaching our service and trying to update it and bring it more in line with what people need and what they want in the 21st century. So in October, we simplified our fare structure. We removed the use pass and the 2 right passes for fixed route so that the options are easier for people to understand. Pass or a discount pass. They were 18 and under, they now qualify for the discount pass. So we didn't just say, oh, if you're 12, but you're able-bodied, so you have to pay full fare. So they're either paying half fare or full fare, but for those who are 18 and under, we have them at that half fare mark. And then we got rid of the 2 right passes because based off of our analysis that we did with LSC for the routing study, we just don't sell enough of them to warrant keeping. So that will simplify things a lot for riders as well as for staff and people who are selling the passes. We've really been promoting token transit as a way to get people off of cash and to get cash off the buses. And we have paper passes that we still sell around the jurisdictions as well. And then in November, actually on the 20th, so 2 weeks ago, we rerouted Route 17, so it no longer mirrors exactly what Route 14 is doing in the opposite direction. We removed it from NLK and going by Costco to instead go by the Jesus Center on Fair Street. And we received really positive feedback. I was at the Jesus Center last week and, or 2 weeks ago, right after the change was made, and there was really positive feedback about that relocation and about that. So we're proactively trying to make these adjustments as we go along to see if we can get ridership back up to where it should be and to see what we can do about the fares that we're receiving. And as far as accidents and complaints, both of those seem to be, within reason. You know, we always strive for 0 preventable accidents in a quarter, but 2 with, 350,000 miles driven seems reasonable. And there were 3 valid complaints in the quarter, which with over 150,000 rides given also seems low. Presented for information. I'm happy to take any questions.
I have a short question. One of the things we had in Oroville was an increase in security based upon some problems, and we trialed it, and we're now out to purchase a security trailer. Stands alone, it has its own door panel and whatnot. We have seen 100% reduction in trailers in place. I'm just curious if we had any thought about putting the cameras or the new technology of cameras at some of the terminal locations.
We have security cameras at the Oroville Transit Center and we have security guards at both those locations. But Mr.
That's a good question, because it's also something that the technology and, cameras and such they're hard to keep up with. They don't last all that well. But one of the things that we're going to do over in Oroville is we're going to increase the lighting. That dim and dingy and doesn't really light the place. It's a hard thing to work on. It's super expensive, free, and just free cleaning. About 300. I'd be interested to see what it is that you are doing there and see how that might work, or be a potential option for us.
We are currently out on a request for proposals from those companies, and one of the aspects of the RFP is we want to be able to allow piggybacks for both private and public agencies. That's one of the things that would be nice to have us all kind of on the same path. And I've sat through many technical improvements of these new, really awesome what they do. So just correct is original cameras of 5 years ago really don't even match the ones that are being offered. Funny thing is, this trailer has a blue strobe light on it. We think that's really the deterrence that's happening. They see that blue strobe and they go, I don't want to screw around with that. I won't fool it. So.
We'd like to get in touch with staff over there and kind of.
Well, we'll keep you apprised. Like I say, we're out on our RFP right now to put that in place, and primarily the city parking lots, and other city facilities and so on and so forth. The beauty of these kind of cameras is, versus staffing for security guards, they don't call in sick, they don't take vacation, they're 24/7.
Yeah, right.
On the price wise, you get to a point, so, just had a trial basis of 3 weeks and it totally reversed the situation. I look forward to it.
Yeah, sure.
Anything else? All right, public comments, do we have anybody? We will adjourn to closed session then, and so we have held closed session, and we have decided that John needs to stay for another 3. No. Andy unanimously voted in to accept the, Andy is our new. Congratulations.
With that, we can adjourn the meeting if we want to, and then move to the next.
One of these closed session,
I can take it. Yeah.
is there top secret?
So we will adjourn our meeting in January or whenever we back there again. And
Yeah, we